on. I just knocked over my camera. I'm picking it on. Sorry about that.
Hi my lovelies! Now on my channel we've talked a ton about fashion dolls or even rag dolls, but a huge part of the doll market, even to this day, is baby dolls. According to Ruby Lane, in the early decades of the 20th century, baby dolls were returning to prominence in the marketplace. With the character doll movement of the 1910s, doll makers became enthralled with the wide range of expression and realism that could be created with dolls' features. And with that sentiment came hundreds, potentially millions of dolls. But for me, and most Gen Z kids, the baby dolls that automatically come to mind for their sometimes disturbing nature are none other than Baby Alive. Right off the bat, I want to say I wish I could have done like a deeper dive into these dolls, but unfortunately with the topics that I cover, there just isn't enough documentation online sometimes to get to everything. And for Baby Alive specifically, they have a bunch of dolls, but also a bunch of dolls that have been remade again and again and again as technology has advanced. But nevertheless, I did my best with what I could find, and I still had a blast revisiting these. Quite a few people on my community tab pointed out the lack of videos on this topic, and that's my specialty after all, covering things that people haven't dared to. Anyway, before we get into the weird world of Baby Alive, let's hear a word from today's sponsor, shall we? On the topic of maternal instincts and all, my computer is like my baby. I use it for all my editing, but also all of my research. And that's why today's sponsor, NordVPN, is so important to me. VPN stands for Virtual Private Network, and essentially what it can do is ensure you keep your privacy online. Oftentimes, I like to do my research for video topics at a library or a cafe, just to get out of the house, and if I find myself stuck or not making much progress when it comes to a certain topic, a change of scenery always seems to help me move forward. And thanks to NordVPN, I don't have to worry about my privacy potentially being compromised when I join public Wi-Fi networks. Taking the proper precautions to protect yourself on the internet is important. I mean, in December 2024 alone, Threat Protection Pro blocked over 17 million scams. And the other thing I'm a huge fan of when it comes to VPNs is just how endless the possibilities are when browsing the web. I'm always searching out specific shows or movies for my videos, but the streaming services, they don't always come in clutch for me. Thankfully, you don't need to fear because NordVPN is here. You can simply switch countries with the click of a button and get access to content you otherwise couldn't have access to. For example, I love Studio Ghibli movies. Not that I'd ever make a video on them, but I've been trying to watch movies for my enjoyment too. It's helping fix my short attention span, thanks to TikTok popularizing short form content that's rotting my brain. But Ponyo specifically has been such a comfort movie to me since I was young. And as you can see here, you can't find it on Netflix in the US. However, using my VPN, I switched my region to Germany, and now I can actually watch Ponyo as well as many other Studio Ghibli films using Netflix. I also had some fun using my VPN to check out the new total drama game Take the Crown, which was made in promotion obviously for the new reboot seasons. And because of how like weird and delayed the distribution of the new seasons has been, you can only play this game in the UK courtesy of BBC. So I switched my region to the UK and voila! I got to finally play the game after months! I'm a big fan of the games that were made for the older cast, so this felt kind of like nostalgic in a way. So big shout out to NordVPN for that. And if you want to try out NordVPN for yourself today, make sure to go to nordvpn.com/lulaloopsey for an exclusive deal plus 4 months extra. That's nordvpn.com/lulaloopsey. Thank you again to NordVPN for sponsoring today's video. And now let's dive into Baby Alive. Now I know I mentioned Gen Z in my intro, that's who a lot of my content is curated for, but Baby Alive has actually been around for over 50 years. The toy line was first introduced by Kenner back in 1973, and the main feature of this doll, which set it apart from others, practically having people mesmerized, was the mechanical mouth that would chew the food, or as the box said, she really eats, drinks, and feels soft like a real baby. Hence the name, Baby Alive. The doll came with these little food packets that were meant to be mixed with water and create a like paste, as well as a feeding spoon, bottle, and diapers, because yes, indeed, the food you fed this baby would come out the other end. The earliest commercial I could find for Baby Alive was 1975, and the features mentioned along with the box shown at the end of the commercial match up with 1973, so I'm just going to assume they are the same doll. But even though the concept of this doll at first glance seems so simple, remarkable. Baby Alive was the first doll of its kind, and believe it or not, very innovative for the time. And while Baby Alive has never had like a real controversy, it's become a bit of an infamous doll for the gross out factor it presents. And taking a look at its history, it's safe to say that there has always been this gross out factor with these dolls, no matter what generation was playing with them. And truthfully, that's because it was all a part of Kenner's plan from the beginning with this doll line. To quote Mental Floss's article on the topic, titled Baby Boom, Remembering the Baby Alive Toy Fad of the 1980s, disgusted? That was what Kenner was hoping for, like a prototype Garbage Pail Kids character come to semi-life. The company banked on what it called the ew factor. Unlike most dolls, adorable and bespoke, in their finest doll attire, Baby Alive was meant to repulse. While it seems like Baby Alive could be best gifted to only children you disliked, the doll's actions seemed to be a hit with the girls. Kenner's focus group subjects expressed a kind of glee, declaring it both disgusting and irresistible. As Baby Alive's popularity grew, so did Kenner's keen marketing sense. If a girl had a Baby Alive doll, she would obviously need to keep it fed, which meant parents were constantly returning to stores for the food packets, and if the doll kept fulfilling the diaper's purpose, it would need more of those too. Despite Kenner being an important part of Baby Alive's history, in the 90s Hasbro would buy Tonka Corp, which included Kenner. Therefore, Kenner was a division of Hasbro up until the 2000s, when they officially decided to close all Cincinnati operations, which was where Kenner was originally founded back in 1946. While being partially owned by Kenner still, Baby Alive wouldn't release any new dolls until 1992. Although, since the original Baby Alive released in the 70s, over 9 million Baby Alive dolls had been sold. So they were clearly successful, and there was a market for this. With this new iteration in the 90s, not much changed design-wise, but a talking feature was introduced. How this worked was there was like sensors inside the doll to indicate what stage the food was at. So then your Baby Alive could alert you when she had to use the bathroom or needed a diaper change. And while it's a great idea in theory, it ended up not selling well and being discontinued pretty shortly thereafter. I don't use Wikipedia as a source in my videos unless I can Google the information to like backtrack and make sure it's true elsewhere, but there was genuinely nothing about the reasoning of this doll's discontinuation online. So I will note that the Wikipedia said, due to the loud gear noises and her deep adult voice, whatever the hell that means. So if anyone has any information as to why this specific doll got discontinued in the 90s, I would love to hear it. Most sources just kind of stated the obvious, which was that the 1992 doll got replaced with the Juice and Cookie dolls in 1996. These dolls came with their own juice boxes and this like plate mold thing for cookies. We can see there are different shapes like a bear or this like triangular slice which they use in the commercial. But circling back to the closure of Kenner's Cincinnati operations, now that Baby Alive and several other toy lines were officially like 100% Hasbro's now, things underwent a bit of a redesign process. Now I have to use Littlest Pet Shop as an example of this, not only because I love Littlest Pet Shop and happen to have a Littlest Pet Shop tattoo, but there are a lot of parallels. With Littlest Pet Shop, Hasbro was able to take this short-lived, underperforming toy line from the 90s and turn it into something super profitable throughout the 2010s. While Baby Alive went through something very similar, also being redesigned to have more of a like cartoony appearance, but keeping the talking element that had been introduced back in the 90s, but expanding upon it further, of course. And with that, the Softface Baby Alive was born. This era of Baby Alive releases were known as Softface Baby Alives due to the specific rubber-covered animatronic faces they have. There were 3 versions of this doll released, the first in 2006, the second in 2007, and the third in 2009. Starting with 2006, this doll came in 3 different skin tones, wore pink bows in her hair, and had a pink dress with flower details on it. The doll came with a yellow bib, a bowl, a feeding spoon, a bottle, 4 packets of food, and 2 diapers. The talking feature could be activated by using a button on the doll's wrist, which was made to look like a bracelet, which I personally think is a really cute detail. I love attention to detail in toys, and I'll highlight it any chance I get, but I'm also highlighting this because I can only assume this button had to be implemented based on what happened with the first Talking Baby Alive doll back in the 90s. Now, I'm not able to prove that the dolls not being able to shut up was the problem, but I have my theories. I feel like, especially Gen Z kids, we we all had that one talking toy that our parents could not get to shut the fuck up. For me, there's probably multiple, but the one memory I have that I think is super funny is this like talking stuffed animal donkey. And yes, you're not mistaken, I'm talking about Donkey from Shrek. I was so obsessed with Shrek. Do not even get me started. And if you're wondering, yes, I am so beyond excited for the new Shrek. I don't really understand all of the hatred off the bat people have for this new Shrek, because it's simply updated animation. Like, some of you really need to get a grip. Did we forget that it's been like 10 years since the last Shrek movie? Of course it's not going to look the same. Like, how is updated animation even comparable to something like Ugly Sonic? It's not, but I digress. Anyway, I had this talking donkey stuffed animal, and I don't know how often this would happen, but at night sometimes I guess it would start talking. So my dad resorted to wrapping Donkey up in a towel and throwing him in the closet so that we wouldn't have to, or he wouldn't have to hear him anymore. But I truly think that my father embodied Shrek in that moment, especially the first movie. Who's to say he wouldn't do that to Donkey? Enough about Shrek though. I can't prove like what happened with the Baby Alive that got discontinued, but I'm a strong believer that the Baby Alive's not being able to shut up could have played a role in the discontinuation. Again, if you had that Baby Alive in the 90s, please chime in with your experience in the comments, but I think either way, it's safe to have a button to make the talking feature optional. Now, the 2007 Softface Baby Alive came in 2 skin tones and wore purple instead of pink. So purple hair bows, a purple dress with a floral butterfly print this time. This doll came with a pink bib that had little pictures of fruits and veggies on it, a bowl, a feeding spoon, a bottle, 4 packets of food, and 2 diapers. Then, again in 2009, the Softface doll was re-released under the name Baby Alive Real Surprises. With the same 3 skin tones as the first version, the Real Surprises doll wore a dress with cartoon animals on it, along with a bib which had a pink deer on it. This version of the doll also changed the color of the bracelet from purple and the button to pink. Between 2006 to 2009, there were also other Baby Alives released like Slurp and Sip, Wet and Wiggles, Better Now Baby, Baby Alive Learns to Potty, Baby Go Bye Bye, Baby All Gone, and Whoopsie Doo. But not all these dolls had the same features, not every Baby Alive spoke, and I feel like based on the discontinuation, again in the past, that was a very smart decision. Then again in 2010, we saw the release of dolls like Changing Time Baby and My Real Baby, which was very similar to the Softface Baby Alives with its animatronic face, but didn't have that same like soft, rubbery face anymore. My Real Baby had sensors that would trigger the doll to respond to waving, along with stomach sensors so that you could interact with your baby by tickling it. This doll would then have a revamp called Real As Could Be just 2 years later in 2012. 2010 was also the first year I could confirm that Baby Alive made an appearance at the Toy Fair thanks to toyportfolio.com, who uploaded footage of the Baby Alive Bounce and Babbles baby. Similar to what I mentioned with Wikipedia earlier, and very similar to what happened with my Fidget Friends video where I specifically highlight how unrelatable fandom wikis can be. But why I bring this up is because just like pretty much everything, there is a wiki for Fidget Friends, and in fact it's the first thing that comes up when you search why are Fidget Friends discontinued, and it reads the possible reason for termination of the franchise is the franchise's refund scandal in 2013. You Google Fidget Friends refund scandal and there is literally nothing that confirms it ever happened that pops up. And the rest of that same section of the wiki talks about the unreleased webisodes and provides a cast list along with a plot that was never confirmed or sourced. It also says Mattel said that they have no plans to release the series based on their frequently asked questions, which I cannot find and there's no proof of, unlike my Novi Stars video where it actually was a customer service email that confirmed the discontinuation. With Baby Alive, I had to kind of lean on the Toys That Make Noise wiki, and according to that wiki, Bounce and Babbles Baby Alive came out in 2009. However, based on the Toy Fair footage and the grainy YouTube video I found from late 2010 of this Baby Alive still in stores, I'm inclined to believe that Bounce and Babbles Baby released in 2010, and specifically the later half of 2010, because that's usually how it is with toy fairs. They'll show something in the beginning of the year and it'll either come out like summer or like the second half of the year. And this, my friends, is why if you use a wiki to aid in your research, because there's absolutely no other options, you have to confirm the information yourself when the sources are not linked or there's just no sources. Another fun fact about this specific Baby Alive as well is that it would be re-released in 2020 as Baby Gotta Bounce. As you may remember, pretty recently I talked about LazyTown on my channel, and when I was researching for this video, I found out that Chloe Lang, who played Stephanie in the later seasons of LazyTown, so like seasons 3 and 4, actually did a Baby Alive commercial in 2011 for the My Baby Alive doll. The Wet n Wiggles doll also got re-released in 2011, only this time it was limited to a girl only. Obviously, Baby Alive as a toy line is very girl-oriented, which I think plays a huge role in why all the dolls are girls. But in 2006, one of the variants was a boy, and for a long time that was actually the only Baby Alive boy, which made it even more sought out amongst collectors. So it's very interesting to me to see that they would release this doll, minus kind of the component that made it special, you know? Since then, in 2019, Hasbro has made efforts to be more gender inclusive with the Baby Alive toy line, releasing a TV spot tackling the subject and raising the point of what's wrong with, you know, boys playing with dolls in the first place, because parenting isn't gender specific. As a father of 3, I remember doing all those things with my babies, changing their dirty diapers, feeding them, burping them, rocking them, giving them bottles, playing with them, putting them to bed, reading to them, all of which are scenes in this one short film. So as a dad, even if I was a fervent believer to the boys don't play with dolls, I can't dispute the relevance of each and every one of these scenes for a boy one day. And that's a sentiment I truly couldn't agree with more. I feel like Baby Alive specifically gets a lot of flack from adults for the gross out factor, but I think that the toy can be used as a really great educational tool. And I say that as someone who isn't even interested in having kids. I like how this toy line has just continued to, you know, progress past that original concept of I made a stinky that they started with, that gross out factor. There's dolls like Baby Wanna Walk who can walk by herself, and if she falls, you can help her get up and she'll respond and interact with you. This doll, I believe, takes inspiration from Hasbro's Baby Wanna Walk from the 90s, not just with the concept, but I believe with the overall look of the doll, like the outfit or the hair, you know. Or another example is the Baby's New Teeth doll, where the baby's 2 front teeth are growing in for the first time. Or another example, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the whole like snack time Cabbage Patch Kids doll scandal, but Baby Alive's Snack and Sarah reminded me of that controversy, only I think those dolls' food would like end up in their backpacks, while Snack and Sarah's food will end up in her diaper. I mean, totally unrelated to the whole recall. The whole issue with Snack Time Cabbage Patch Kids was the censors could not distinguish between the plastic food they were meant to eat versus children's hair and or fingers. Similar concept nevertheless, only this time controversy free, of course. Anyway, the main reason I wanted to make a video about Baby Alive in the first place, and the whole reason I have nostalgia for them so much, is my Kelly Maple obsession I had at 10 years old. I was really into like the YouTube toy sphere because I made my own LPS and Beanie Boo videos before starting this channel in middle school. Kelly Maple did something very similar, only her content was focused mainly on dolls. A lot of dolls, but Baby Alive was the main one that I watched her for. And the first video I ever watched was Baby Alive Christmas Morning, where I was introduced to the absolute diva that is Emma, aka the 2007 Baby Learns to Potty doll. So let's talk about some of Emma's most memorable moments. For me, it has to be when she got access to a car. Or that time where they went to the restaurant.
What do you want? Do you want to order it? Yeah, I want a hamburger.
We don't have any hamburgers.
What? This is insane! I want
Or the time that Emma started a diary.
It's so beautiful. I could cry. That's a perfect first page. Dear Diary, today Mommy got me this diary. It's very fun to write in. From Emma. Now let's write some juicy stuff. I'm gonna write about all my brothers and sisters. Hey Emma, what are you doing? Oh, nothing. You can't read this. It's no touching, only me. Please see it? No touching! Why? It's my diary, and you can't read it. No, just let me see it. No, stop! Come on, Emma, just a peek. No! Stop! Do not touch my diary, ever!
Or the time that Emma beat up Parker.
Hey, Emma, do you want to eat with me at lunch? No. Wait, Emma, why? Because I don't like you, Parker. You are mean to Paige, and I'm Paige's friend, so I don't like you. Emma! No, stop it! I don't want to eat with you, so stop talking to me, Parker! No one likes you!
Or when she ran away from home because she wasn't allowed to have a cookie.
Mommy doesn't want me to eat cookies, and is going to be mean to me. And not let me have a cookie, and she'll serve the cookie and put me in timeout. And wants me to be quiet and doesn't care about me, then I'm going to run away.
There are so many iconic Emma moments. I could be here all day listing them all off, but the most jarring one that I want to note in today's video is the time that Emma tried selling her sisters. The video starts with Emma getting her mom, aka Kelly, to let her go to the store with her, despite obviously not wanting to take Emma due to the shenanigans she always gets herself into, being the diva she is. This is what leads to Emma finding an interest in earning her own money, because she begs her mom to go to the toy aisle, and obviously Kelly refuses to buy her anything, but mentions that if she had her own money, then she could buy things herself. So Emma asks when they get home, how does one earn money, since she doesn't have any money? So like most kids, Emma ends up doing some chores around the house, like making her bed and cleaning up the kitchen, and that earns her about $3. Then she cleans the bathroom, which earns her another $5. But it's still not enough. Emma wants more money. She's becoming a little money obsessed. Because at first she's set on buying this container of Mundo she saw at the store, but then she realizes she could save her $8 and buy something even bigger like the shopping cart she wanted at the store. But for now, Emma's kind of at a standstill because her mom doesn't have any more chores for her. So you know what Emma resorts to? Selling her sisters! I guess she saw people trying to sell kittens in a box at the grocery store, and while she doesn't have any kittens, she has sisters. Because, and I quote, "I do have a lot of sisters. I'll try to sell some of them. I mean, we don't really need them all. I mean, there's a lot." What the fuck? So Emma tricks several of her sisters by saying, "Do you want to play a game?" And we see them in this cardboard box as Emma starts advertising that she's selling her sisters because her family doesn't have enough money. After she sells her first sister, Lucille, for approximately $30, her sisters start to cry despite being told, it's just a game, because it becomes clear that their sister is gone. Eventually she sells them all and she gets her shopping cart, but then she realizes, hey, I wish I had my sisters to ride this with. This is kind of boring without any sisters to share it with. Now you might be wondering, where the fuck is her mother? I was wondering the same thing. However, it turns out she never actually sold her sisters. It was all some daydream when she spotted this shopping cart in the store, and they actually hadn't even been in the store for like 10 minutes yet. Kelly Maple is obviously a lot older now, but has since gotten into like the reborn baby community more than Baby Alive these days, and even sells her own reborn dolls. And while I don't know much about reborns or that community, I'm glad she's still seemingly involved with the channel she started as a child. I've watched so many like toy adjacent creators move past what they began as a kid and begin to resent it in a way. And obviously when I say that, I respect anybody who feels the need to move on. Don't be stuck doing something that makes you unhappy. But I'm also a firm believer that you can enjoy dolls or toys at any age. I let myself detach from that part of me for a really long time because I tend to have a lot of interests that people would deem childish because I'm autistic. However, just like with Kelly making her own reborn dolls, people restyle dolls, people make LPS customs. These things, they go past a simple childish interest and they become an art form for people. I mean, I know when I was really involved in the LPS community, I felt really artistic because I would make these sets and I looked at people making their own sets and I was always so impressed. Anyway, with us diving into the history and past though, you're probably wondering what's going on with the toy line nowadays. Well, speaking of channels like Kelly Maple, the thing is kids don't even really necessarily need to rely on channels like that anymore for Baby Alive content. Because did you know that there's a Baby Alive animated series? Created in partnership with E1, the 20-episode series follows Charlie, a 7-year-old girl who uses her imagination to care for her Baby Alive dolls. The show will also introduce her magical friends and a new product segment for Baby Alive, the Glow Pixies. Accompanying the series are 2 new Baby Alive dolls inspired by the characters from the show. The Baby Alive Lulu Achoo is a doll that sneezes and covers her nose, while there's also a line of Glow Pixie dolls and Glow Pixies Minis collectibles. Funny enough, I ended up up like discovering this show after finding this Reddit post on the r/Daniel Tiger conspiracy, which is a subreddit for parents who are subjected to kids shows because they have kids and they kind of want to share their thoughts and theories with others. Anyway, the post reads, "I'm convinced the YouTube show Baby Alive is written by 13-year-old boys who love poop humor. Nearly half the episodes are fart humor based. The fart cloud is like a putrid yellow color, and the main character, the 7-year-old girl Charlie who watches the babies, almost passes out from it often. Also, for a show about babies, it's pretty good/funny. My 2-year-old is addicted." From the very little I've seen of this show, this post was very spot on. I mean, I clicked the channel's most popular video, and immediately, as it starts, it's Charlie and she's gagging from the stench of changing one of the baby's diapers. I'm not like most commentary YouTubers when it comes to cartoons. I don't necessarily jump to the conclusion that all fart humor is a fetish. Sometimes I think it's simply what kids find funny. I've been there myself, and adults know this and they're trying to make a profit. But that doesn't stop me from getting uncomfortable when it goes on for too long or is constantly a running joke in a series.
Total drama. I mean, who said that?
I wanted to watch a full episode or two to get a feel of like what this show was like for you guys, but when she started reenacting going potty on the potty for the babies, I had to click off. I was like, I'm not watching this. Like, what happened to hello? How are you? My name is? Like, what happened to that? And the episodes are super short, ranging from nearly 4 to 5 minutes, so this is most likely a compilation of more specific like potty humor related moments with 29 million views. As for the dolls themselves, Baby Alive is pretty much Hasbro's only remaining doll line, which is very weird to think about. Growing up, I thought their faces were really already animated and cartoony, but as Baby Alive has progressed as a toy line, their faces have only continued to get more cartoony and animated looking. The coolest newer concept for the Baby Alive dolls that I wanted to highlight though are the growing up dolls, where basically you get to watch this baby transform from a newborn to a toddler. The dolls have this molded on plastic hair with a small like ponytail that expands as the doll grows up, so like her hair grows. And I think that new like innovative concepts like that are going to be the sole reason that Baby Alive is or has been able to stick around for so long. Because unlike a regular doll line, the past concepts can be redone and expanded upon multiple times as technology continues to advance, and there will most likely still be an audience for it. Anyway, that is all I have to talk about today. If you made it this far, thank you guys so much for watching, and if you had a baby alive growing up, comment which one it was down below. I wish that I could have dived so much deeper into this topic, but hopefully I still did it justice. I wasn't able to like list off every single doll in the doll line because I just realized at a certain point it was going to be too much, but the goal with my videos anyway is always to just like start a, productive conversation about the topic at hand. And I also thought this one was interesting because I know that like a lot of people are repulsed by it. As always, big shout out to my Patreon members. I appreciate your support so much, more than words can even describe. And my next video will be some channel history once again. Specifically, I want to talk about the Cubo hoax, so stay tuned for that. I just want to say thank you for everyone's patience because I was in a bit of a mental health rut the past, honestly 2 months. So I just wanted to really emphasize how much I appreciate everyone for sticking around and loving my content and consuming it. And with all that being said, I will see you guys in my next video.